What we're here to talk about is the security changes that have been put into place as a result of the very unfortunate stabbing that occurred at the Olette campus of Windsor Regional Hospital a couple of weeks ago. What has happened over the last 2 weeks is the staff, our Occupational Health and Safety Committee, frontline staff, union executives, clinical staff, both across the hospital and in the department that is a higher risk department, along with the physicians, all examined the issue that occurred, examined how it occurred, examined our current security that's in place, and looked at what possibly could be enhanced in order to try to recognize, to minimize the possibility of this happening again, with a goal clearly of trying to eliminate it, but recognizing that eliminating it from ever happening again might be impossible. However, the goal is how do we minimize the risk from it happening again. So just a brief summary again. What happened is we had a male patient who was on a daily pass, his 7th such pass. He was returning to the unit. On his way back to the unit, he came in contact with a female patient who happened to be from the same unit, and unfortunately he stabbed her. He was immediately subdued, and the female patient is recovering from her injuries and is being treated for her underlying issues as we speak, and she, from last information, is doing well. But with respect to the male, he is still within the police system, and the judicial system is being dealt with there and is not with us any longer. However, what we did is we looked at our security system and our security processes when individuals are coming back, for instance, on a pass, and they come back to our facility, what's in place. What happened before is they would come directly to the unit. They would be met with frontline staff. They would have a check-in process there. They would be changing their clothing from their street clothing over to unit clothing, and there would be the necessary examination of the goods that they're bringing into the unit to make sure there's nothing improper that they're bringing into the unit. And that's the same thing that happens to visitors. When they come to the unit, there are lockers and they have to check in personal belongings, and they cannot bring those into the unit while they're visiting. What we looked at, though, with respect to the pass is this contact or check-in point happened on the floor. So again, it won't eliminate something from happening in the future, but it will greatly reduce the risk. So what we've done, number one, is the check-in point for people on passes occurs outside of the facility. When a person goes on a particular pass, when they check back in, they're going to be asked to present at a security station, which is in our parking garage. They'll be met with security there. Security will do a preliminary check-in point with them, and then security will be escorting the patient to the floor and handing them off to security on the floor. We put into place now 24/7 security on the floor. Although there was a significant security presence on the floor on a daily basis on 3 North and 3 South, there is now security there 24/7 to help assist with this process of checking in and also being there on a daily, hour-by-hour basis to help support the staff and to make the safety and security of our staff, patients, and visitors the highest and the utmost importance. Again, visitors and patients who enter the 3 North or 3 South will have a check-in point, will have to have whatever belongings they have searched and looked at, and at the same time, what we're putting in when they check in at this external point as well as the internal point is we are introducing wanding metal detectors where both visitors and patients will be wanded, both when they check in from a pass and also when they try to get into the unit. This will apply at any point in time a patient or visitor leaves the unit. So if a visitor leaves the unit to go simple task of getting themselves a coffee, when they return, they will have to go through this process again. The same with a patient. If a patient has to go for a diagnostic test, when he or she returns to the unit, they will have to go through this process again. The clinical staff talked about creating exceptions. The problem we had with that, when you start creating exceptions, things will happen, unfortunately, and it'd be very difficult to track the exceptions and to look at, we made an exception for this, we didn't make it for this, where do you draw the line? So after all of the discussions, a discussion was had to say, let's make it universal, there are no exceptions. Even if you leave the unit for a second and you step out and step back in, you're going to have to go through the same process again.